Bob, you've been at St. Anthony in Jersey City for over 40 years, over 1,000 wins. You're in the Basketball Hall of Fame, 66 years old, if you don't mind me saying that. What motivates you to keep doing this? What drives you?
Well, my lack of ambition has kept me here this long. Just I haven't come up with something else to do. And I'm a city guy. I grew up here, like you did. I grew up here in the city, and I'm very comfortable, working here. I'm very comfortable with the kind of kids that come to school, and I'm needed here. This place needs me. Probably doesn't need me as much as a coach as it needs me. Maybe more of an ambassador of the school now. In times, trying times in Catholic school.
You mentioned some of that need, and you talk about St. Anthony, and everyone knows the story. 250 maybe students, a small school in Jersey City. Yet on a basketball level, you guys compete with the powerhouses on a national level. But you also have to deal with lack of facilities, financial issues. How do you fight through those obstacles?
The Archdiocese doesn't really have the financial ability to invest in their own schools. There are other issues that the Catholic Church is dealing with, which are taking a lot of the finances away. So it's up to the individual schools to come up with a business plan that's going to work. And what it very simply comes down to is the difference between your tuition and what it costs you to educate you. You've got to have a plan for that. And the plan is, for us, it's about $1.5 million a year. And that's a tough fundraising number to have to come up with on a yearly basis.
And what have you done to try and make sure you can achieve that in terms of, I've seen you say, we got to market the basketball team. You've got to market yourself. If it means going to a coaching clinic and getting that paycheck because you're dispensing your knowledge, and then that money goes right into the general scholarship or tuition fund, I would imagine.
I'm pretty much available for flea markets and bar mitzvahs and anything that would be out there, because you never know, in this world of fundraising. The funniest thing too is I'll do any of these things, but I can't do the ask. I cannot ask anyone for money, but I can stand around like a buffoon doing everything but the ask. And then somebody else usually has to come with me, because I grew up in a household where, my mom and dad were workers. They worked. Anything that they had came through working, and anything we got growing up, if you wanted something, you would work for it, you saved your money, and occasionally you got that present that you were surprised by, but by and large, everything you accomplished through your own hard work. So when it comes to this and I have to ask, I'm not capable of asking, and that's probably a terrible trait when you're trying to help with fundraising, but it is. I'll give them the hours. I just can't make the pitch.
I know from talking to you in the past, you've mentioned how your day job for 30 years used to be probation officer. So you would see the guys in Jersey City, the adults who had made mistakes, who had made those poor decisions. Then you'd go to basketball practice and you'd see kids from those same neighborhoods who probably had those same risks and temptations around them. And part of your motivation was, I am not letting these kids get to the point where one day somebody's walking in through my door.
No question. The sad thing was, in almost all the cases of talking to the guys on probation, it was a decision they made at 12, 13, 14 to drift away from, a team, being at school every day and start hanging around with kids that were cutting, hanging on street corners, get involved in other things. And the shame is that at that age, it's affecting the rest of your life. And no one could get them, particularly in the city, no one gets them when they get off course and gets them back on. Because you could be off course for a year, 12 or 13, and be back on course and be productive at 15. But the hole gets deeper and deeper. So kids here, they get here, and we've only had 2 kids in 41 years now that have not gone to college. There's not even so we're not talking about graduating high school or just being productive. We're talking about going away to school. So St. Peter's College, New Jersey City University aren't necessarily thrilled with the fact that we want the kids to go away from home, because, it opens up a whole new world to them they didn't even know existed.
I also know you're a baseball nut. What would you have been like as a baseball manager / baseball coach?
Well, I worked with the FA. The FA taught me some baseball, and my dad was a pitcher.
And so for those who don't know, Ed Ford was a Jersey City legend. He was a his high school baseball coach. He was a scout. He was a Damon Runyon-esque character in Jersey City.
Absolutely. He was, and his influence on so many kids in the town was amazing. And when I started coaching basketball here, he had been the JV baseball coach. So the two of us were together all the time. And he left here to become the head baseball coach at St. Mary's. and I became the JV baseball coach. So now I'm trying to be the father. You know, we're you know, first and third is an absolute double steal. You know, we're suicide squeezing every other inning, like we were just running the bases. You know, at bunting situations, the third baseman would be 7 feet from home plate, you know, ready to hopefully field a bunt and maybe not get decapitated by a ball hit by the batter. So I was involved in all that stuff, and the problem was you just really can't do both and give the necessary attention to the kids at either one. So one or the other was going to suffer. And after a couple of years, I was a first base coach in the state championship down in Princeton, and it was a great experience. But I had to look at this and realize that it's, you know, I had to put more hours in. And then the second thing is I also needed to work maybe that other part-time job that actually could pay some money. If you do two things here, you're invariably going to be working poor.
You're in trouble. Now, what about as far as the Yankees go? You just told me something off air that I think was a testament to what kind of Yankee fan you are. You will not wear a Yankee shirt of any kind if they've lost the night before. So today, of course, St. Anthony's gets the nod,
yes, I had,
as it should.
I had a striped coaching shirt out with the NY on it, and I took a peek at it in the closet and said, no, I'm not gonna sell out today just to wear the shirt. When in fact, you know, we went down again yesterday in another, you know, there's been a lot of important games of late, and you know, we're still in there, but we're just, you know, I don't know, I just don't know if we have enough. Either you know, the day-to-day lineup or pitching right now to catch the teams ahead of us.
Where did your allegiance to the Yankees come from?
I grew up, you know, big Mickey Mantle guy, loved Mantle. You know, I think since Derek Jeter became the shortstop, I probably had a period of time prior to Jeter where I was less of a baseball fan than I have been. But I would say the entire time that he has been, you know, shortstop for the Yankees, which we're talking mid-90s, I followed them, you know, followed him faithfully, and then look now, and he's at the tail end of it. You know, maybe we get you know, maybe we can hopefully have an injury-free next season for him, and everybody around him. You know, Bernie was great. You know, guys like Paul O'Neill and Mariano has been phenomenal. You know, following him over his career has been absolutely great. And it's been a lot of fun. I miss George. I miss George. We don't have that. You know, like I'd like to run in the locker room after a game every once in a while. That's the basketball coach in me. And you know, baseball, because there's 162 games, you're not supposed to do that. But George would do that, and I'd be happy that George did it because he'd be shaking up. You know, he shakes up the group, but I don't know what that does because you're only as good as, you know, your pitcher in the next game versus who you're facing. So.
He was an interesting guy to cover because of what you just said. He had the football background, and he wanted, if you could go 162-0 in baseball, that's exactly what George wanted to see, no doubt about it. How about kid from Jersey City? I bumped into you on the field a couple of years ago. One of your teams being acknowledged at the stadium. How meaningful is that?
Awesome. We had a connection with White Rose. We had been doing some clinics for White Rose, and a fellow from White Rose said to us that he was going to talk to the Yankee people, and would I have any interest in bringing my team over, being on the field, getting on the Jumbotron, and being acknowledged by the you know, by the fans before a game. I said, "What, are you crazy? The kids on my team will go nuts because they're like peripheral baseball fans now. Most young kids are not like when you would have grown up and followed teams. It's not quite the same. But to go on that field and to look around and be a part of the whole thing was awesome." So
by the way, you don't have to go to class, Jess. I'm going to keep you here. I've talked to the principal.
But I think Buddy may have to go to class right now. Okay. So I think when we got there that day, we knew somebody usually comes out and joins us, and out comes Joe Girardi.
Wow.
So he comes out and he walks and shakes everybody's hands and then walks to the back. And it was like the parting of the Red Sea. We opened up, pulled him right up to the front of the picture.
Wow.
And it was tremendous.
When you watch a guy like Girardi, before him Torrey, or if you're watching a Jim Leland or a Mike Scioscia, you're a fan, but are you, because of your coaching background, are you managing with them? Are you watching Girardi making moves and thinking, he's sticking with CeCe here, I would go to Robertson, Logan should be facing Ortiz here? I mean, how much of that are you doing when you're watching the game?
I am least Captain Hook of probably most fans. I want to leave a guy in, like Pettit last week. I'm leaving Pettit in the game when we're up up 3-0, and they put the 7 up for us to lose. I'm more inclined to give a guy, keep a guy a little bit longer. But at the same time, I know I'm an American League fan. If I have to start getting into the double switches and stuff, it's way too confusing. Like I'd be Tony La Russa in like reverse. I'd have nobody left on the bench trying to figure out how to try to match up with what the other guy's doing against me. So the American League, I'm more comfortable, and I want to in basketball, I'm an aggressive coach. So I'm always trying to use like how I feel about basketball in baseball, and you can't do that. It's an entirely different approach to it. You're in it for the long haul.
Right.
They got to get you out 27 times. You got to get them out 27 times. So many things happen during the game. Like I have my infield. I bring the infield in most of the time. I wouldn't give up a run because that's the emphasis I put on defense. But so I would have some trouble, I think, and I respect the fact that I think patience in baseball is a virtue. With managers, it's a virtue, being patient. And I think with Tony Pena, just having him next to him there, I think the experience that's on that bench is really helpful.
You know how Mariano, as the great closer, has always sort of half-jokingly said he's such a good athlete that he'd love to play a game in the outfield before his career is over. I think before your coaching career is over, you got to go back to baseball. Just one game. I want to see the double steals. I want to see you hitting, running on every pitch.
I love putting what do you call play on first and third. I love putting the cutoff and having the ball, having your shortstop
cut in front of second base.
Between the mound and second, and be throwing home on the call. That's like I would like to use that all the time. I don't want to put. I'd rather be in second and third trying to keep a guy from scoring than let them do what they do so much now, where they run 3/4 down to second base and stop and try to just to delay before throw home.
Now, getting back to basketball, how cool is it for you as a dad? Now, first of all, you got to coach Bobby and Danny, which is great. But that they've followed in your footsteps and are both Division I college coaches now.
Yeah, it wasn't an intended thing with either one of them. I think Bobby obviously started right from college to play professionally, and then Danny, I think right after college had a chance to go play over in Europe. He got married right away after college, and then he taught here for a year and got into coaching right away. So he's he's got way more years in the business. Bobby, kind of do it. His route was, very big circle. He worked with the Sixers and did some other things. So I thought he was looking to get involved, but who would have thought that within a matter of, less than 10 years, actually for both of them, Danny's only been a college coach now. This will be year 5, I guess, and they're both head coaches in college. Amazing. And people would say it's a family business, but they're making money in the family business. Those two. I am. I have a lot of St. Anthony T-shirts, and I have a lot of Felician nuns that are friends of mine, but it hasn't translated too much into any financial success.
How much do they coach like their dad?
I think Bobby's going to be more like Coach K than me. He's going to play a style, I think, that will help recruiting at the college level. So he's going to be more like Mike, I think, in the way he's going to let guys play. And I think Danny's already established his own. When he was a high school coach at St. Benedict's, he was outstanding. He did a really, really good job. And he's built on that with 5 years, in college now. And he previously had 4 years at Rutgers. So now he's got 9 years at the college level. So he's very sure how he wants to play. I see little bits of how hard they play, emphasis on defense, but at the offensive end, I don't see I see them being flexible, that if they have certain personnel, they play to their personnel. They're not like, they're not married to a certain style where they just force the kids to play that style.
I remember meeting your sons. I attended one of your basketball camps when I was 12 or 13 years old. So whatever that would make your boys, they were tiny, and they were shooting baskets up there. But this basketball camp was at Hudson Catholic, where I ended up going. And I won the free throw shooting contest. And I remember having one conversation with you. They had other awards, Mr. Hustle, Most Improved, Best Defense. And I just came over and said, hey, Coach, if you won the free throw shooting contest, can you win another trophy? He said, of course you can. So I had the whole week ahead of me to win another trophy. I won the free throw shooting. That's all I got. But it was a very educational week. I look at what you taught about basketball and compacted into that 1 week and took it from there. Now, I played 1 year in high school. That's as far as I went, but I learned a lot that week.
Thank you. Yeah, it was Eddie Butler was my partner. Eddie was coach of Snyder at the time, and we actually, I think it was the first camp that had been run in Jersey City to that point, and it was I've been in the camp business now since '75. So I've had 38 years of running camps, and this past summer I ran 6 weeks. So I was, and not 1 week in Jersey City. I was out of town, running in all different places.
I got a quick question for you, hypothetical. You and your coaches are driving to the game. The kids are already there. Let's say you get stuck in a massive traffic jam and you can't get there. Your wife, who has been your scorekeeper forever, has to coach the team. How seamless a transition would that be?
I think they probably would have more freedom on offense, and they wouldn't be as intense on defense. But she would know exactly what to do.
That's my point.
She has absolutely, I've said this a bunch of times, college assistants sometimes will call up and they'll say, can I stop by? So they'll stop by my house at lunchtime, or a guy may come back over after dinner, and they'll sit and talk a little bit, and then they'll leave, and we'll go sit down in the living room, and I'll just look at her. And if she doesn't think there was a lot of content to what the guy had to say, she'll raise her eyebrows in disapproving that this guy really is not a basketball guy, that he's a recruiter, or he was hired because he's really articulate, but she wasn't so sure there was any depth to his basketball knowledge. This is this is the scorekeeper for the last 30 years.
She soaked up a lot of basketball. I'm going to take you back to the Greenville section of Jersey City. There had to be a store where you guys would go to get some candy or whatever. You and I are both going to open up a pack of cards.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to debate who's got the best player, not the best pack, whoever has the best player. So we might have a little baseball discussion. And a couple people have said to me, well, what if we have an argument over who the best player was?
You get gum? I don't know.
No gum.
No?
You know, we did one of these with Brian Cashman. I had an old pack, 24-year-old gum. Off air, he and I tried it.
It would snap.
Bad idea. It was like pink paint. All right. Oh, wait, I see a Yankee in here. Oh, and I did not. Oh, this is going to look like I fixed this, but I'll just keep going right now. Escobar, Grant Balfour. Let's see. It's going to look like I fixed it twice because I have Miguel.
Well, this is over right now.
I have Miguel Cabrera.
We can stop right now. My third card is Babe Ruth.
No way.
So I don't think we can.
My goodness.
I don't know how long this was supposed to be.
But guess look what I got in the hole. I got your guy. I got Derek Jeter in the hole.
Oh, very. Anybody's that would normally win. That's like when you're in Italy, you're playing blackjack, and you think you have a pretty good hand, and that dealer who does it every day just throws it out there.
I have Miguel Cabrera and Derek Jeter, but I am going to obviously cede to probably
I didn't even look
the
at
best
my other
player ever.
Let me just take a look at my other cards. No, I have
Alfonso
another Yankee now,
yes.
Alfonso. No, so I'll go with I had Jose Reyes. And in declining order, Jose Reyes and Soriano, and then the big guy.
So this is a fitting end because you said Jeter helped reignite your passion for the Yankees. So there you go. These are yours.
Thank you very much.
Coach, as always, thanks so much.
Okay, Jack.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.